Welcome to today's ETH/USDT Perpetual Strategy Analysis, dated May 9, 2026. Before we read the charts, let's review the four core signals in this system. TS trend entry long signals a long entry. S exit sell confirms long continuation and serves as a long add-on or short stop loss. TEB trend entry short signals a short entry. EB exit buy signals short re-entry, long stop loss, or short cover. With these definitions in place, let's now examine all three timeframes and identify the current market structure. Let's walk through each timeframe from the highest to the lowest. Starting with the weekly chart. The weekly shows a major EB signal at the top left. This was the macro bearish trigger that initiated the large downtrend. Price fell substantially. In the lower right zone, two TES signals have appeared. These weekly TES signals represent the market attempting a bullish recovery from deeply oversold levels. After these TES signals, there has been no new weekly EB or TEB to invalidate them. Weekly bias, long. The TES at the low zone is holding, and the macro recovery attempt is still in progress. Moving to the daily chart. The daily previously showed TEB signals that created bearish pressure. Then an ES signal appeared, suggesting a bullish recovery was underway. However, on the right side of the chart, a new EB signal has appeared. This daily EB is critical. It means the bullish recovery attempt on the daily has been stopped out. The daily has flipped back to bearish. The EB signals that the daily multi-day long structure has failed, and short-term bearish pressure is now dominant. Daily bias, bearish, driven by EB. Now the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour shows a sequence of TEB signals on the left side, followed by ES signals indicating short-term recoveries. Most recently, on the lower right of the 4-hour chart, a TES signal has appeared. This TES signals a short-term long entry at the low zone on the 4-hour. After this TES, there has been no new 4-hour EB to invalidate it. The price is bouncing from this TES level. 4-hour bias. Short-term bullish bounce, driven by TS. Summary of the three timeframes. Weekly is long via TES. Daily is bearish via EB. 4-hour is short-term long via TES. This is a split structure, also known as a divergent setup. The weekly and 4-hour are pointing long, but the daily is pointing bearish. This is not a clean confluence setup. This is a mixed signal environment. With a split three timeframe structure, let's define your exact trading playbook. The three timeframe consensus: weekly long via TES, daily bearish via EB, 4-hour short-term long via TES. The system rule is: use the weekly and daily to determine trend direction, and use the 4-hour for entry timing. When the weekly and daily disagree, the system requires you to stand aside and wait for alignment. The current situation is: weekly says long, daily says short. These two are in conflict. The 4-hour TES is only a short-term bounce. It does not override the daily EB. Therefore, the correct action is: stand aside. Do not open new positions. Here is why. The weekly TES is still valid. You cannot chase short against a weekly long recovery. The daily EB is now dominant. You cannot open a clean long when the daily has just printed an EB. The 4-hour TES is a short-term bounce within a daily bearish structure. It is not a standard multi-time frame long setup. Here is your standard operating procedure for each scenario. If you are currently flat, do not open any new position. Wait for the daily to resolve its current EB structure. You need to see the daily flip back to long before entering a new long. Alternatively, if the weekly also prints an EB or TEB, then the macro direction has shifted to bearish and you can look for short entries. If you are holding a long position, the 4-hour TES bounce can be used to manage your existing long, but reduce your expectations significantly. The daily EB is a warning. If the 4-hour prints an EB, exit the long immediately. If the daily prints a new TS or ES, the daily long structure is recovering, and you can reassess. If you are holding a short position, the daily EB is in your favor. However, the weekly TES is still valid, which means you are shorting against a macro long recovery. This is a counter-trend short. Keep it small. If the 4-hour prints an ES signal, that is your stop loss. Exit the short immediately. Do not hold a short through a 4-hour ES in a weekly long structure. Now let's look at the two key scenarios going forward. Scenario A, daily recovers long. The daily EB is just a temporary pullback. The daily prints a new TES or ES signal. The 4-hour TES holds and continues higher. This would restore the weekly long plus daily long alignment, and you can re-enter longs on the next 4-hour TES or ES signal. Scenario B, bearish pressure escalates. The daily EB is followed by more bearish signals, a new daily TEB, or the weekly also prints an EB or TEB. The 4-hour TES fails and an EB appears. This would signal that the macro recovery is failing, and the entire structure is shifting to bearish. In this case, stand aside from longs and wait for the weekly to confirm the new direction before considering shorts. In summary, ETH/USDT on May 9th shows a split 3-timeframe structure. Weekly long via TES, daily bearish via EB, 4-hour short-term bounce via TES. Per the system rules, this is not a standard confluence setup. The correct action is to stand aside and wait. Wait for the daily to flip back to TS or ES before entering long. Or wait for the weekly to also confirm bearish before entering short. Stay patient, stay disciplined, and follow the signals. This analysis is for signal system interpretation and trading discipline reference only, not investment advice.